I love that we all come together to support one another to help really drive and boost the industry that we are in. Everyone, good morning and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Emma Barron. I'm Deputy General Manager of Professional Beauty, and this is a new venture of ours where we'll be delivering daily content for everyone at 10 a.m. every day as a result of the amazing response that we had from our first ever virtual hair and beauty week a few weeks ago. So Kelly is here. She's ready to go with her presentation on branding, Brand You. Learn how you can brand your business and learn effectively and how that can impact you and your brand and your business. So Kelly, throughout her presentation, will be asking you questions and at that time, can I ask you just to place your answers in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. So Kelly, are you there?
Good morning. How are we all?
We're good. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's super excited to be here. This is so professional. I love it. It goes with the name, I guess, as well.
We try. Okay, I will put my screen on hold and I will mute myself and I will hand myself over to you.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for the intro. Hi, everyone from home. How are you all doing? I'm really excited to be sharing today's content. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I've been working on it for the past 15 years. And I was just saying to Emma, you know, how nice it is to be able to present to a community that's so closely aligned and I've worked with for so long through the fashion industry. So there's so many things that we've got in common. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to stop sharing my video. I'm going to come back in and out. But what I want you to do is really focus on the content that I'm sharing. Grab yourself a pen, a piece of paper, because I want you to take lots of notes. And ultimately, I want you to feel so inspired at the end of this to be able to take action. So let me stop my video and let me share my screen. Okay. So, Brand You Masterclass. So, first of all, I think I'll address the rather large elephant in the room. Is what I'm about to share has worked in normal market conditions, and this is what I've used to build my personal brand, which in turn has built my business. But let's be realistic, this is really not normal market conditions, but the point is we are going to get through this, and with the support that's around us all, we're going to get through it, and it's just a case of how. And I think over the past sort of 5 years or so, as I've been mentoring more individuals, I've really realized that there's two types of sort of entrepreneurs or business owners. And there are ones that are going to sit and wait for market conditions to really improve before they do anything. And then there's the others who are actually going to take the time now, which we may have a little bit more time than we normally do, to proactively make decisions and be ready for when this market does pick back up, which it will. We're humans, we're resilient people, and we're going to go out there with a bang. So why build Brand You? Well, I'm not here to talk about personal branding and your business logo and your company strategy, mission, vision, values. No, I want today to talk about you as a brand, because as individuals, whether you're an employee or whether you're a business owner, you are a brand. In a recent study polled, 91% of people showed that they were more likely to purchase from a brand or a business that appeared authentic. So over the past 15 years in business, I've realized this, and they say, you can only join the dots when you look backwards or when you look back. And it's so true, you can. But people really want to know the story behind the brand, the person behind the business. People want to connect with people, and now more so than ever. And I honestly believe that ultimately this is the key to standing out from your competition, is your personal brand. And I think as sort of stylists or experts in the industry as ourselves, maybe it's a little bit easier to do that. But, I think even when you're the face of your business, building your personal brand makes perfect sense. Now, I've realized this through my own business and how it actually came to this point. So I noticed certainly through social media, people were far more interested in following the Kelly Lundberg official page that I have than they were necessarily following my personal styling business. People like to know what's going on behind the scenes. I think that's just the sort of nosiness in us all that we're like, what are they doing? And what are they wearing? And where are they going? And there just seems to be so much more connection with that. And I really do feel that building an audience for your personal brand can actually really help increase exposure for your company. So my experience is maybe even longer, 16 years ago, I launched the Middle East's first personal styling service. And I knew that I needed to sort of work on a personal brand for two reasons. And the first one was sort of two moments that I look back was, one day I had a vision that I wanted to sell my styling business. So I knew that I'd need to build and have a presence if I wanted to keep evolving to what the next version of Kelly Lundberg would be doing, which of course 15 years ago, I had no idea then. And then the second moment that really sort of pushed me into really developing my personal brand was it coincided with an event with Harvey Nichols. They asked me to host a style event. And at the time, everything that I had was related to Style Me Divine. It was my business. But Harvey Nichols didn't want to promote my business. They wanted to promote me as the expert. And they asked me to provide a logo then, so that was about 2013, of my Kelly Lundberg brand. And that's when I realized sort of more as I started to speak or host educational experiences for in-store or just what I was doing, that I needed to develop my own brand as well as a personal brand. And that's why I think certainly in hairstyling, skincare, you become known for you, but also how you run and lead a team as well. So that kind of brings me to where we are sort of now. I have Kelly Lundberg Official, which sort of, and the reason I have Kelly Lundberg Official, let me just tell you, is just because kellylundberg.com was taken. So I had no choice. I did actually for a while run under kellylundberg.co, which was a terrible mistake. And when I spent a fair bit of time in the States, everyone was just typing in com, it was getting rejected, or they were like, where's the .uk or whatever it is, where's the rest of it, people would say to me. So that's why it ended up being Kelly Lundberg Official. And then since I sold my styling business, which I did last year, I now operate my business, which is the Mentorship Academy, under the S Academy. So I have two brands. So consumer demand is up there for transparency, and your personal brand can really mean the difference between, I believe, people trusting you and your business, or them really choosing your competitors, really. So I've got a question for you here now, and let's relate it to your industry, because some of the examples that I have are maybe not sort of not wellness or hair or skincare, but can you share with me any common examples of personal brands and how they've actually impacted their business within your industry? So, I would automatically, if I was talking on a general scale, I think of maybe Steve Jobs of Apple. Steve Jobs, would his company be anywhere near as powerful if you never knew who the CEO was behind it? So let me just come out of this, come to my questions. So I can see if you can tell me some people in your industry. Doesn't necessarily have to be people that are, you know, based in the UAE or in the GCC, but anyone else that you can think, wow, they've actually got a great brand, and in turn, that actually really has helped their business. Okay, Tesla cars. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the chat, Fab.
I found the chat box now, I'm happy. Anyone else thinking that, you know, certainly in the beauty industry, is there anyone you can think of, Emma, in the beauty industry that's got a really strong personal brand and business?
Huda Beauty, Huda Katan.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's prolific on social media, but her business is huge. And that's certainly one that's really relevant to being here too.
Yeah, and Charlotte Tilbury. In terms of salon owners, I think the salons that have their own name, or Joelle, someone said Joelle, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are just, I guess, some real-time examples of here, but also, you know, for you to think about, you know, how you're perceived outside your business. So let me come back into the keynotes. I will just close this. So I have a question for you, and this is one piece of homework that you need to be doing after this masterclass. Is I want you to do the following. You are who Google says you are. So if we think of your personal brand, I want to know that if people are searching for your individual name or your company or your product or your service online, what comes up about you as a person is your personal brand. So I want you to type your name, not in the vanity perspective, into Google to see what it says. This is purely business research. Type into Google, see what comes up. Do you like what you see? Does it paint a compelling picture of who you are, what you do, and who you serve? And the other thing is, click on images. If you are in an industry that is image focused, what are the pictures that represent consistently what you do or who you say you are? And if not, then I'll be honest, it's time to take control of your personal branding. So your brand is what distinguishes you from your competitors, and it really does help to form a lasting impression in the mind of your audience and of your customers. And if I'm honest, without a compelling personal brand that attracts your target audience, you could find yourself struggling to build a profitable and sustainable business in this current climate. So I want to take this into the next step of examples of personal brands and businesses and how people interact with them. So if we have a little look at Richard Branson and Virgin Atlantic. So we've got numbers here, 4.3 million. So probably most of us are following Richard Branson. He's very inspirational, versus Virgin Atlantic. Even though he does post great stuff on that, people want to know more about him. If we look at someone said Tesla Motors, Elon Musk, that's 712,000, probably even more right now, versus the 97,000 on Tesla Motors. Excuse me. What about, do you know this chap here? Gary V from social media, and he has VaynerMedia. Well, that's just one of his businesses, actually. 7.8 million followers on Instagram versus those that are interested in his business. So there is definitely place for both. Then let's have a little look at Sarah Blakely from Spanx. So she's the founder of the underwear that I think I probably bought the most for clients over the year. Now, what was interesting about her page was she was actually really late to the game for Instagram. But they're pretty similar. They're in the 300,000 mark, but the actual engagement was hugely different. So from a Spanx perspective, her interaction was around 700 to 1,000 roughly on a page, and on her own page was anywhere between 11 and 50,000. And you'll see on her page, what she does massively well is she showcases a lot of behind the scenes, and it is real and it is raw footage. And you're able to really connect with her on a personal level. So if I haven't convinced you this far about developing, your brand, you and your personal branding, let's take it a little bit deeper. And I'm going to share with you the benefits of building a personal brand. So first of all, we've got trust and authority. So having a personal brand helps you to build trust with your audience and really position you as an authority, as a thought leader in your industry. It helps you to get featured in media. So having a personal brand makes it easier for you to pitch because you've got clarity in your messaging. But it also helps you to be found by media and in online publications and magazines and TV and radio, and podcasts are huge just now. And they're so easy to be able to communicate a message of your personal brand and to be able to share that on your social media platforms. It's just another credibility factor to why you and your business are great at what you do. Another benefit of building a personal brand is it helps you to build your network. So when you have a personal brand that clearly articulates who you are, and a lot of people get a bit messed up here, but you need to clearly articulate who you are, what you do, and how you help others. And it makes it easier for other people and entrepreneurs to see value then in connecting with you. And that's from an entrepreneurial perspective. That could mean a client perspective. Or why other brands, the products that maybe you have in the salons, they want to work with you. And you can leverage your personal brand, to build your network, both online, which is pretty popular right now for obvious reasons, but also offline, quickly and effectively. There's still plenty more benefits to building a personal brand, and that one is attracting more clients. So building a personal brand that positions you as the go-to expert in a specific industry, or niche, helps you to build and attract more of your ideal clients. Because let's face it, we've all got clients that we prefer working with. I did as a stylist for many years, and those clients actually changed over the years. And sort of in the last couple of years, the clients that I loved working with were male Emirati clients. Loved them. They were just, they were so easy in the sense that they just, everything that you said, they agreed with, which was great. As an expert, we all love people when they agree with what we say. They were efficient in terms of they, were ready at the time they say they are. They didn't cancel appointments. There was just so much efficiency with it. I loved it. So we can attract more of the clients that we want to work with because the other benefit is increased pricing. And this is so true. My clients in the last couple of years, I put up my prices massively, and I was so scared to do that. And my personal mentor told me to, and I was like, I can't do this, but I really did. And no one questioned it. And having a strong personal brand that really justifies charging a premium price because you are the expert. I had 15, 16 years experience. And I know that there's so many of you in salons, owning your own business in the beauty industry that are experts. And this sentence, I believe is so crucial. Without a personal brand, I believe that you become a commodity that competes on price. So let me repeat that. Without a personal brand, you become a commodity that competes on price. And there will always be competitors that can beat your price. And I experienced this recently. I had been looking to actually look with another coach I was looking to work with, and I had a great call with her. She was based in the States, and I was like, right, this is definitely the person I want to work with. And then she told me her price. And I was like, wow, that is a lot of money. And I said to her, I'm going to just have a little, think about it, and I want to look around. And I really studied her, what Google says you are. I looked at her personal platforms, and they didn't match up to the price and the premium pricing that she wanted to charge. And I was like, it's not happening. So it's crucial So what are some of the things that you can be thinking about? What are some of the things I do when I work with clients? So we really get clarity on what are your brand you goals. So that could be a milestone on social media, but remember, brand you and personal branding is just not about social media. It's about, consistency. How you do one thing in your personal life is how you do everything in your business life. It could be maybe your brand new goals are you want to, bring in some sort of charity aspect to what you're doing. How do you incorporate that into your brand new goals? Maybe you want to be a guest on a podcast. This was one of my goals back in 2000 and I think it was 2015 or 2016, and it was Entrepreneur on Fire, which is the image that you see right next to you. It was the biggest, and probably still is one of the biggest entrepreneurial podcasts out there, millions and millions of downloads, and I wanted to be on that. And it was run by a guy called, it's still out there and I still listen to it, John Lee Dumas, and every day I would go down. He was the only one. I think that was what made him such a success, was that he had a daily entrepreneurial podcast. So every day I would go out on the running track to walk. Let's just be clear, I didn't do any running, and it took me half an hour to walk around that track, and half an hour was that episode. And by the end of it, I had rehearsed so much that if I was on the show, this is what I would say. And I was like, one of these days I was feeling so inspired. I'm like, right, I'm going to message him. I'm just going to say that I've got this value to be able to bring to him and his audience. And eventually he said yes. And I was on it, and it was a great podcast, and people still find me on it now. This is the thing, that when you start to build your brand new goals, like I had a publisher reach out for me 2 years ago from the States saying, I heard your episode on John's podcast, and we'd really like to work with you to finish another book. Amazing. So what are your brand new goals? Maybe it's to step up your personal style. And that's something that I've been doing with so many entrepreneurs in a business sense over the past 15 years personally. But there's so many things you could be doing. Maybe you want to do a TEDx talk. Maybe you want to be in a particular magazine. But that showing up as the best version of yourself, maybe it's all of the above. But you need to have some sort of goal to measure your success by. And, what that success is, let me just be clear, is just not going out and buying social media followers, because that totally defeats the object of, or the objective, should I say, of being authentic and about being real. So let's go into sort of digital presence and how I see it. This is what I believe. Social media is by far one of the best ways to build your credibility. And no, I haven't said build sales for a global audience. And I've said global audience, whether you're a local market, global audience, whatever it is, it's the best way to build your credibility. The way that you can look at it is like it's a shop window. And why would you want to tempt people into your shop window? I work with so many people that say to me, I do post on social media, but no one's bought my product yet. And I really don't believe that that's the one priority. Yes, it's the end goal. But what are the steps in between that in order to do that? And it's connecting with people to then be able to convert. That, in my opinion, is what the goal is of social media. To connect with people, engage with them, to then be able to convert. So, one of my career highlights was being asked to work with Chanel and to be asked to work with Louis Vuitton. And both of them asked how they actually found me. And when Charlotte from the Learning Development team first contacted me, I was actually driving down Shakeside Road at the time. And I remember, I was so excited going, would I like to work with Louis Vuitton? Yes. And I remember saying to her at the end, how did you find out about me? I'm just really curious from a marketing perspective, because she wanted me to work with training her retail staff on sort of personal branding and style knowledge, etc. And her response was, well, I've been following you for a while on social media, and I saw what you were doing, and I saw you were working with different brands. So I thought I would reach out to see how I can help you. So you never know who is actually watching what you do. So let me run through a few sort of things. If you're not working on them now, maybe you can be working on them, and it's just part and parcel of going forward in terms of digital presence, some of the mistakes I maybe see that people are doing. So Instagram for me is one of the best tools, just because I work in the fashion industry, and you know, people like nice pictures, so Instagram's a great way for doing it. You know, that goes without saying. Consistent content. I mean, I'll be really honest, even right now, I'm finding it so hard to post things. But what I found really interesting is some of the things that I've posted have randomly done really well, and they've not been perfect posts, and they've not been, you know, perfectly, you know, photo shoot pictures. They've just been ones I've taken on my phone with my camera stand. One in particular I can remember where I literally got my days so confused, and I spent half the day thinking it was Tuesday, and could you imagine my disappointment when I found out it was only Monday? So I shared this with my audience, and they were like, yep, that's totally us. And it was a really well engaged comment, and that was behind my personal brand. You need to be really clear to say what it is that you do, but also connect that back to your business. And this is where so many people make the mistake of not maximizing their link field and having a clear call to action. Book in for a consultation today, or try our 7 ways to look after your hair at home, and then you can start building up your mailing list. You know, 2 tools that I found really useful is Linktree and Milkshake. They are both apps that you can use to maximize that link field in your bio on Instagram, because there's only one place that is actually clickable. Let's have a little look at Facebook. It is hard for engagement, but you need to have it if you're going to be doing any paid ads. Now, I would only recommend doing paid ads, again, if you've got a really clear call to action that you want people to carry out. But this is a place where actually, and especially as a salon, you can get great reviews on it, and you know, include information like maps and contact details and what other people say about it as well. Facebook group, I'm loving the functionality of a Facebook group, and it works really well for me as a community-based nurturing strategy, to be honest. It allows me to nurture my community, but also those that are in the community might not actually be clients, but they could become clients. And this actually just happened last week. I have a specific one just for fashion stylists, and sharing just, you know, style, business news, what have you. And some of the stylists within that community bought into Brand You and wanted to learn about that. So that's another thing that you could be considering from your digital presence. LinkedIn, loving this space right now. And I think that is primarily to do with the fact that, you know, we still want to network, but LinkedIn is all about business. And there's so many things you can be doing to really update your digital presence on LinkedIn, and connecting with potential clients, connecting with, you know, people that you actually want to do business with. So it's no longer, you know, sort of like your online CV. It is your business journal. You get visibility amongst professional business people, and if you want to connect with journalists, TV people, you know, podcast people, whatever it is, so more people that know you, then this is a great way to do it. And more so, this is where people can give you recommendations. And there's no excuses right now. Don't have time. We all have a little bit more time, but also it doesn't cost anything. So if you want to support an SME right now, go and give them a great recommendation on LinkedIn. YouTube, if you're in the visual industry, YouTube's worked really well for me. I actually set up my account 10 years ago. I spent about 7 years doing nothing with it. And it's only been in the past 3 years that I've actually really started to create consistent content. And now I generate a little bit through revenue ads. I mean, not much, well, maybe like 500 dirhams a month or something, or between 300 and 500 dirhams a month. But, and that is actually nothing to do with styling videos. That is to do with a real, a reaction video I actually did to a TV commercial. But that aside, digital presence, it can help you generate leads. Videos show authenticity, which case in point with that reaction video, because I ended up crying on it. And people love to watch, maybe more so rather than read. So how can you get some fabulous tutorials done and, you know, really nurture your community and get people online to see what it is that you're doing? So I really hope you're getting so much value from this. You're taking notes. I just love sharing this content. Pinterest could be good depending on what interest you are. What I think is interesting about Pinterest is it's not just a social network, it's actually a search engine. And this sort of stat, 83% of weekly pinners make a purchase from brands on Pinterest. The other day, I was like looking for some nice quotes, and then I found some wall quotes, and then I ended up, before I know it, on Etsy purchasing something that I had seen through Pinterest. So again, that could be something that you could be looking at with your personal brand and making an identity for yourself. How do we get more articles? What can you be doing? This is Sharon, who lives in Ireland, and she got a great write-up in her local newspaper about just generally what she was doing. And she's just gone from strength to strength, and articles really have that influence to be able to influence a community. Another thing that you can be considering is a personal branded website. This is Marquita Hughes, who I worked with, and she's not a stylist, but she was an aspiring footwear designer and woman, you know, entrepreneur, all about empowerment. And she wanted to raise funding for her brand and her next step, and she wanted a platform to do that on, to be taken seriously. And with a personal branded website, you can control what goes onto it, and you can control what it looks like. It's not just how Facebook want it or just how Instagram wants it to look. You can make this look as nice as you want. So, and it also again helps with SEO and what does Google say about you? Don't forget to do that at the end. And ultimately, to build up to a presence of having a Wikipedia page. So what we need is those articles. We need the personal branded website. We need to be doing all those things so we can have a Wikipedia page that ultimately is our reputation. We are what Google says we are. If you want to build this business and you want to stand out from your competitors, these are just some of the things that you should be doing right now. So how do we create this demand and, you know, market your brand? This was just, well, it was pretty current, this article in the National. And again, it wasn't necessarily related to what I was doing, but I had the opportunity to talk about how I mentored and how my community has changed now that my business is actually online. So there was the opportunity for me to talk about business, but it was about me and what happened, or how I do, or how I've been dealing with money during this crisis, shall we say. So the common ways that you can look at sort of increasing your visibility can be interviews and PR. And right now, people are looking for a lot of online content. There's a lot of it out there because they're not doing print, and they need more online content than just print content. You could be doing guest blogging, or I really hate the term blogging. Maybe if we say guest writing, guest contributing, maybe. So that's on Entrepreneur Magazine, online. Write articles is a great way to be building up your credibility. Public speaking, this is Dawn, who I've worked with. She did a TEDx talk through in Abu Dhabi, and again, it was a personal story that she shared. Even when I did my TEDx talk, was a really personal story, but it was to be on that stage and be associated with a brand like TEDx. Public speaking, I actually think is one of the best things and best platforms to see you as an expert in your industry. And I certainly think next year, when you're at the conference, and if you have the opportunity to speak, then I would definitely jump at the chance for you to be saying, yes, you want to share your expertise as an expert. You need to be on that stage. You could also be looking to be doing partnerships and joint ventures. So, there are some things that we still do for free to build, to help, to nurture. I went to a community recently of fashion stylist students. I think fashion students would be fair to say. And I was talking about the transition from going from one-to-one styling to building an online academy, and explaining to them the story of that. And the guy to the right to me, James, also Scottish actually, then actually works for a brand, and I was talking about Chanel and Louis Vuitton and the stories in retail training. And through that introduction, then ended up in a meeting to me discussing potentially working with his brands and doing retail training there. So you just never know where partnerships and joint ventures are actually going to come from. But what's going to really help you to get there is a media kit. So to add to your professionalism and increase your credibility, this is what I've used over the past couple of years, is a really strong media kit. What is a media kit? It's just a document sharing information that describes you or your business. In particular, this is me and my business. It's got anything really that a journalist or a publisher would need to cover a story on you, or a brand or a partner would need to collaborate with you, because it just demonstrates your authority status and your credibility. Media kits are a great way to show off your media coverage, press mentions, social media mentions, and other shout outs you've maybe been getting. So what should you be including in a media kit? Well, it should actually say who you are for starters. It should also say what you do, who you help, and you might actually have different bios. So my media kit is actually slightly different bio to what you would find on the website. It's got information much more related to content creation and sort of style-led and lifestyle projects versus business mentoring or styling as such. You would have your websites there, geolocations, your social media presence. So what are your stats sitting at? Which, looking at that now, they need to be updated, constantly evolving, constantly changing. It would also show statistics in terms of, maybe things that you've got related to your industry, press releases, logos, just again, makes you look so professional. Media files and photographs. And these strategies honestly work well for entrepreneurs, business owners. And even I read this great story about an intern, and well, actually it was about a rapper, and he was looking for his next intern, and he had loads and loads and loads of applications. And this intern decided to create a personal branded website, one of the things I mentioned earlier, and sent it to this famous rapper, and he got the job because he just stood out above his competitors. So it doesn't matter where you are, or what industry I believe that you're in. I think all these things will help you to stand out from your competition, and they will work well wherever you're based in the world. I needed a media kit when I spent 2 months in Los Angeles building my business there and trying to work with people in the media industry and press. I had an example. Yvonne is actually a friend of mine, but someone who I've worked with through Brand New, and she's nothing to do with style and lifestyle, but she just messaged me this on WhatsApp last week. I'm so happy I updated my digital presence like you suggested, and I just got confirmed a podcast with a travel company, which has a 10,000 following plus. Well, who doesn't want that right now? So I really genuinely believe it's your time to make an impact. It's time to build your brand you. So I've got a really important question for you, and I want you to answer that in the chat box. Do you feel inspired? That's what I want to know. Do you feel inspired? Because, I've been here. I remember what it was like. I'm just going to have a little look there. Who feels inspired? I'm trying to find my little chat box now. Yes, we feel inspired. Good stuff. That's what we want. You know, I remember the day when I first launched my business and I sent out a press release, because there wasn't social media in those days. And I had no idea in those days what a press release was. I learned from Google. Google has so much to answer for. And it was amazing that when I started reaching out to people, the results that came back, I got an interview with a local newspaper, which then became a weekly column. I got a feature in Emirates Woman. I got featured in Time Out. And then it just started to grow from there on in. So I'm glad that some of you, if not all of you, are feeling inspired, because basically what I'm sharing here is nothing is theory. Everything I've done or my clients have done, and I just have a system that works, and I'm telling you it will work for you too. So do you want to know what the steps are that you should be doing first to start to build your existing, or start to build on your existing brand? You already have one, and showcase your credibility and brand awareness within the first few weeks, because you could be like Yvonne, getting on a podcast or doing something that really are your brand new goals. So you basically got two options. One, you can be the first entrepreneur that was sitting there, the business owner, wait for things to become perfect, or get better, or for the market to improve. Or what you can do is you can build your brand. You can learn how you can grow your brand, your business, and your impact. So this is something that I'm working on that helps you build your visibility, attract great opportunities, and, you know, help you with your brand you that you visualize, or that you really want to visualize one day. So this is a step-by-step formula for growing your brand you, your brand awareness, your likability, and your trust, because that's ultimately what people want. They want this real touch now. Nurturing a client database and being recognized in the media. And like I said, who doesn't want that right now? What's included? Well, we've got 6 step-by-step weekly modules that will help you to get clarity on your message, your brand you, who you help, and why. Create your brand you goals. So what do you want to achieve? Everyone needs goals, and we need something to achieve towards. What kind of hit list of who you want to target and where you want to be featured in. You'll be able to craft a seamless bio and elevator pitch for your social media platforms, and really make use of those tools that are out there, absolutely free. You can step up your social media with proven strategies that have worked for my clients and for myself, and learn the secret to really building a community and developing your database. So this all in turn will help you grow your business. And also included in this week by week modules is 6 group mentoring calls with me every Monday. There is also checklists, worksheets, and action items all included. So what you will create is expert status, credibility, clarity in who you are and who you help and why. And not to mention, own a database of hot clients that have fallen in love with you and your brand. So, are you ready to step up your brand new presence with lifetime access to all the materials that you're going to need, and me helping you hold your hand along the way? You can get started today for just $97, followed by 2 monthly payments of $97. So this is normally $497, but I love to work with action takers. So for this community, one-time fast action price of just $197. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link right now that you can get this $197 for everything that I've mentioned. And for those that sign up today, we've got an online masterclass bonus, which you get your brand new growth treasure chest, which is 7 ways to grow your brand as an entrepreneur. Because let's face it, if you're a business owner, you are an entrepreneur. So the final step is to click the link in the comment box now. So if this feels like a fit for you and you're feeling inspired like I was when I started, you know, just really getting out there and speaking to people, then I definitely look forward to working with you as we go. So coming in and having a little look at some of the questions we've got here. Bethany says, thank you. I feel so inspired to work on all the channels I've neglected. Absolutely. This is the perfect time to be doing this. Emma, is there anything you wanted to add to this?
Yeah, I've just stopped sharing the screen so we can see you. There you are.
Hi, I'm back again. That was so much fun. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it.
We have got some questions.
Yes, go for it.
Okay. Are beauty and styling industry pros more open to premium consumer reward networks?
What do they mean by that?
Jim, I think who put that out. If you could just elaborate a little bit more on what you mean. Oh, he's put another question. Why are most SME brands, even if they are great quality, why do they shy away from sustainable growth using fintech and e-commerce?
I'm not quite sure actually how to answer that question, to be honest. I mean, why do they shy away from e-commerce? Is that sort of...
brands, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one reason why people shy away from e-commerce is lack of knowledge and lack of understanding. And that's something that, to be honest, is, you know, there's a Marie Forleo quote out there, and she says, I don't know if you follow who she is, she's a big speaker in the States, and she says everything is figure outable. And it's so true that, you know, I remember when I learned to record a podcast, you know, to grow my awareness as my personal brand, I found the answers out online. The answers are all there. So I think a lot of things that people sort of shy away from are things that they're just uncomfortable. Because if we all knew how to do everything, then we would be doing it, you know? So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, well,
we'll come back.
Yeah, if they want to elaborate, then we've got some time. What would you say is your most the best platform for across all social media boards that you find most, or I guess, brings your authenticity across?
So I would say the two that are working really well for me right now are Instagram, and I would say LinkedIn. So I would say LinkedIn from because just everyone's networking right now, and people really don't have a choice but to do this online. So how can you grow? And I just think there's so many things on there. And Instagram, and to be honest, if I'm really to add to that, video. People want to see, and this is the whole part and parcel of brand you, and is the authenticity piece. So I would say on your platforms, how can you be showing you know, video, and how can you be interacting in? I really liked Salon Inc. are the girls that I go and see, Kelly and Sharon, and they've been showcasing on their Instagram stories recently, guess the baby picture of the stylist, which, knowing all the girls in the salon, is actually like, I would never have guessed it. And it's again in that way, it's like little videos, it's pictures, it's authenticity through a social media platform for people to really connect with them. So yeah,
I guess it's about humanizing that brand when you're a salon. Yes. in that perspective. Absolutely. What other things for the salon owners that are obviously here watching, what other examples can you share of things you might have seen from that perspective that Salon Inc. did?
Yeah, so that was on their Instagram stories. I can relate sort of, you know, some of the things, like I did another webinar yesterday to a community of those that work in stores and stuff. And one of the things that I had shared that worked really well was my 3 ways to wear. So as a salon, why can't you inspire your audience and say, right, here's short hair, here's 3 ways to style it? You know, and again, it's video content related to what it is that they're doing, you know, and make things that are quick and easy. Here are our 3 favorite products. This is why we like this. This is if you've got blonde hair. This is if you've got this. This is if you've got this. You know, real life testimonials. This is what people want to hear. Oh, I'm so happy to be back in the salon. You know, it's so good to have you here. Because I think there's going to be a lot of love and a lot of support at that end. So capturing just 5 minutes when people feel fabulous because they've just had their hair done. Let's face it, everyone does. I'll always say yes to a picture after I've had my hair done. The next day, maybe not.
And what about, you know, in a market where there are loads of salons that are, you know, next door to each other, do you have any like tips or in terms of branding that salon that could make them stand out even more so amidst what's going on, especially with COVID-19?
It's that person. It's that one person or the persons that own the salon that people want to know, why did they set up the salon? What is their passion? People connect with passion. And why did they do it? You know, so I think being that forefront of this is what we do, this is why we do it, this is why we're supporting our girls, this is why we want to keep paying their salaries. You know, we need you here to be able to do this. So I really think it needs to be down to you now more than ever as salon owners to be the people behind that brand without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool, great. Well, I will be following up with any of these guys that have any more questions so I can connect you to them after this session. But thank you everyone for joining us this morning, and thank you so much to you, Kelly, for giving up your time.
Loved it. It was so good. Such a great topic, and I wish everyone all the best right now. I know that the salons have opened and more are opening, so it's a tough time, but we will get through it and just stand out. That's what we want. Be you.
Be you, absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining. We have another session tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Mimi, who's going to be talking about empathy as a leader. She's an author of an amazing new book that's just come out. So hopefully we'll see you all then. Take care, Kelly, and have a great rest of your day, everybody. And thank you for joining.
Bye.